My sister wants me to be her surrogate and called me selfish when I refused. My name is Erin. I'm 28. I live alone in a small apartment. I work a job that barely pays enough to keep me caffeinated, and up until 3 months ago, I thought I had a pretty typical sibling relationship with my sister, Chelsea. Typical meaning, we loved each other, we bickered occasionally, we had inside jokes from childhood, and we complained about our parents together. Nothing dramatic. Chelsea has always been the responsible one. Or at least, that's what everyone says. The golden child. The one who did everything right. She picked a stable profession, accountant, married a stable man, her husband, Dan, and bought a suburban home complete with a yard, a dog, and a home goods addiction. Meanwhile, I graduated with an English degree. I drifted from retail to marketing to freelance writing, constantly oscillating between I'm killing it and I am 3 missed paychecks away from homelessness. I loved my freedom, though no kids, no spouse, no binding commitments except to my houseplants, most of which I forget to water. Chelsea never judged me openly, but she didn't need to. She would tilt her head when I talked about my job changes. She would say things like, "But don't you want stability?" in the same tone one might use to ask, "Don't you want clean drinking water?" Still, I thought we were fine. Solid. Sisters. Then came the ask. It was a Sunday afternoon. Chelsea texted me. "Can we talk?" Something important. I braced myself. We met at her house. We sat on the couch. Dan hovered awkwardly for a second before Chelsea told him, "Can you give us a moment?" That was the first red flag. Dan never leaves the room. He's like a polite, blonde houseplant. Once we were alone, Chelsea clasped her hands together like she was in a job interview. "Erin," she said, "you know how badly Dan and I want a baby." I nodded. Of course I knew. Chelsea had wanted to be a mom. She played house with spreadsheets. "And you know we've had some difficulties." I nodded again. They had been trying for 3 years. There had been surgeries, medications, hormone injections that made Chelsea rage text me at 3 in the morning about absolutely nothing. I felt for her. Truly. "So," she continued, "we've been exploring other options." I expected her to say adoption. Or IVF again. Or maybe they were going to try a fertility clinic in another city. I did not expect what came next. "We've been thinking about surrogacy," she said slowly. I smiled. "Oh, that's great. Did you find an agency?" She took a breath so long I worried she was about to faint. "Actually, we were hoping you might consider it." I blinked. "Consider what?" "Being our surrogate." I stared at her. "You want me to carry your baby?" "Yes," she said, smiling with a softness that felt staged. "You're healthy, you're young, you've never had complications. And we know we can trust you. It would mean the world to us." I felt like the couch was tilting. "Chelsea, that's huge. That's not something I can just—" "I know," she interrupted gently. "But think about it. You've always said you didn't want kids of your own. This wouldn't be your baby. You'd just be helping us. Just helping. Like lending someone a cup of sugar." I didn't say no. I said, "I need time." Chelsea hugged me like I'd already agreed. Over the next few weeks, Chelsea acted like the decision was practically made. She texted me boards of surrogacy announcement ideas. She sent me articles about how rewarding the experience was. She even mentioned how they'd set aside some money to help cover my expenses, as though pregnancy were a side gig. Every time I tried to gently bring up my concerns, like, I don't know, the fact that pregnancy completely alters a person's body and life, Chelsea brushed them off. "You work from home. You have flexibility. You're young. You'll bounce back. You don't even want kids. This is perfect." She said that one a lot. As if my lack of desire to have my own children meant I should be totally fine carrying someone else's. I wasn't fine. I had anxiety dreams about giving birth. I talked to my best friend, Lila, who reacted by coughing up her iced coffee. "She wants your what?" "My uterus." Girl. No. Right? That's like a 9-month organ loan with side effects. I knew Lila was right, but saying no felt monstrous. Chelsea was my sister. She was hurting. And I knew how badly she wanted to be a mom.
Still, it was my body.
My life. I finally decided I was going to say no. I rehearsed the speech in the mirror like I was preparing for a presidential debate. I was calm, reasonable, compassionate. I told myself I would stay firm. And then came brunch day. It was supposed to be a casual catch-up. Chelsea picked the place. She insisted we sit outside. As soon as we sat down, a waitress appeared with 2 mimosas. We didn't order, I began. Oh, I did, Chelsea said brightly. You're not pregnant yet, so it's fine.
Yet.
My stomach clenched. So, Chelsea said, clasping her hands expectantly. Have you made a decision? There it was. The moment. I took a deep breath. Chelsea.
I've thought a lot about this.
And I love you. I really do. But I can't be your surrogate. Her smile fell like a curtain.
What?
I'm sorry, I said. It's just, I'm not comfortable. It's too much. The risks, the commitment, the emotional side. But it's not your baby, she snapped. You wouldn't have to raise it. You're acting like I asked you to donate a kidney. A kidney is actually less time-consuming, I muttered. Chelsea's voice sharpened. Do you understand what this means for me? For us? This might be our only chance. I know. And I'm so sorry. But I can't do it. She stared at me with a look I had never seen from her, anger mixed with disbelief. So you're just selfish. The word hit like a slap. I'm not selfish, I whispered. It's my body. Exactly, she said. A body you're not even using. You don't want kids. You'd be perfect. I'm allowed to not want to be pregnant either, I said. Chelsea scoffed. Unbelievable. You have one opportunity to actually help someone besides yourself, and you won't even consider it. I did consider it, I said, louder than I intended. I've been considering it for weeks. I've been stressed and anxious and losing sleep. So, your comfort matters more than my entire future? That's not fair. Well, life isn't fair, she snapped. The waitress approached hesitantly with our food. Chelsea waved her away, without looking. I can't believe you, she said. I would do it for you. No, you wouldn't, I replied. And you shouldn't. And I would never ask. Chelsea grabbed her purse. I need space, she said coldly. A lot of space. She stood up and left the cafe. Just walked away. When I got home, I found 47 unread texts in the family group chat. Apparently, Chelsea had driven straight to our parents' house and told them everything. My mother sent, Aaron, your sister is devastated. How could you do this to her? My dad sent, this is a family matter. We help each other. Even my aunt texted, carrying a baby is the greatest blessing a woman can experience. I wanted to throw my phone into the ocean. Lila, once again, was the only sane person in my life. They're all insane, she declared. And sexist, frankly. No one is entitled to your womb.
But my family didn't see it that way.
They saw it as me denying Chelsea the chance to be a mother. They saw it as betrayal. Chelsea blocked me on everything. I tried reaching out.
She didn't respond.
And then the real kicker came. Dan texted me 2 weeks later. Chelsea is heartbroken. We're looking into a traditional surrogate now. Just know that you really hurt her. Not how are you doing? Not thank you for considering it. Not anything remotely human. Just guilt. Update. The silence between us stretched into weeks, then months. My parents didn't help. They called every few days to remind me how devastated Chelsea was, how she had always been there for me, how family means sacrifice, how a real sister would do anything. I started avoiding their calls. Then I started avoiding everyone's calls. Only Lila stayed. She came over with takeout, sat on my floor, and complained about work until I stopped spiraling long enough to eat something. But nothing truly stabilized. Then one Wednesday afternoon, completely ordinary, completely unremarkable, I opened my email and saw a name I hadn't expected to see for months. Chelsea. Subject line, we need to talk. I stared at it for 10 solid minutes. Eventually I clicked. Inside was a single sentence. Can you come to the house on Saturday? It's important.
That was it.
No apology. No softening. No indication of whether she was still angry, or hurt, or furious. Just a request. I didn't want to go. But I also knew that if I ignored her, my parents would involve themselves. And somehow, every time they got involved, I ended up being cast as the villain in a story I didn't even want to be part of. So I wrote back, "I'll be there." Chelsea and Dan's house was exactly the same as always. Dan opened the door. "Hey, Aaron," he said stiffly.
Not warm.
Not welcoming. Just there.
Hi,
I said, just as stiff. Chelsea was sitting on the couch, arms crossed, posture rigid, like she was holding herself together with sheer willpower.
sit, she said.
No, hello. No, thank you for coming. Nothing. I sat. "We are moving forward with another surrogate," she began. My heart sank, not because I wanted the job, but because I knew the next words were going to hurt. And the process is very expensive.
Ah,
There it was. The direction this was going. I felt it in my bones. Chelsea continued, "We've hired an agency,
things are progressing.
but the costs are higher than we expected. Much higher." Dan cleared his throat. "We're taking on loans, but it won't cover everything." And I asked, dread thick in my voice. Chelsea took a breath. "We want you to help. Financially." I blinked.
Hard.
"What?" "You owe us," she said simply. My jaw dropped. "I owe you? For what?" "For refusing," she snapped. "For forcing us to go through the agency route. If you had agreed to carry the baby, we wouldn't be drowning in debt right now." I felt like someone had dropped a block of ice down my spine. "You can't be serious," I said. "Chelsea, I never agreed to." "But you considered it," she interrupted. "And then you abandoned us." Abandoned? I said no to being pregnant. That's not abandoning. It is when you're the reason we can't afford a child. I stared at her, stunned. "Chelsea, you do not get to blame your infertility on me." Chelsea's face twisted like I'd struck her. "That's not what I'm saying." "It's exactly what you're saying." "We just need help," Dan interjected, hands raised like he could mediate the impossible. "We're not asking for everything. Just a portion. Enough to get us through the next few rounds." "How much?" I asked, even though I should have gotten up and left right then. Chelsea handed me a typed sheet of paper. $28,400. I felt physically dizzy. "You want me to give you $28,000? I asked, voice barely a whisper. "Not give," Chelsea corrected. "Contribute." "I don't have that kind of money," I said. "And even if I did, what makes you think I owe you anything?" Chelsea looked at me like I was stupid. "Because you're my sister. Because you ruined our cheaper option. Because family supports each other." "Chelsea," I said slowly, "I don't owe you thousands of dollars because I didn't want to compromise my entire body for a year." She rolled her eyes. "Always so dramatic. You asked me to be pregnant." I exploded. "Do you hear yourself? You're acting like I refuse to help you move a couch." Dan stood up. "We didn't call you here to fight." "Then why did you call me here?" I snapped. "To emotionally extort me? To guilt me into financing your parenthood?" Chelsea's tone turned icy. "This is our last chance, Aaron. We need you to step up." "I'm not doing this," I said, standing. "I am not your surrogate. I am not your checkbook. I'm your sister." "You're acting like anything but," she shot back. I grabbed my bag. "This conversation is over." As I walked to the door, Chelsea said quietly, too quietly, "You'll regret this." I didn't look back. I should have. Because I didn't see the storm building behind me until it hit. By the time I got home, my phone was vibrating like it was trying to escape my purse. A group chat explosion. Chelsea had gotten to them first. Mom's messages were a roller coaster of guilt, shame, and melodrama. "Your sister is heartbroken. You refuse to help again. Do you even care about this family? She's drowning in expenses because of you. Aaron, she is your sister." Dad was more blunt. "I raised you better than this. You help family. We expect you to make this right." Then came Aunt. "I heard you won't support Chelsea's fertility journey." What kind of woman refuses to help another woman become a mother? I put my phone face down and let the silence swallow me. This was about control. My family had decided that my body and my wallet belonged to Chelsea because she wanted something badly, and they expected me to comply. Lila came over without me even asking, carrying tacos, a six-pack, and a bag of sour gummies. "You look like you got hit by a train," she said. "I feel like it." I told her everything. When I finished, Lila sat there. "That," she said finally, "is not a family. That is a cult with a group chat." I laughed, but it came out broken. "What do I do?" I asked. "You go no contact," she said immediately. "I can't," I whispered. "They're my family. Families don't demand rent from your reproductive organs," she said flatly. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Chelsea's face. Or that $28,400 invoice. Or the texts calling me selfish. I kept thinking, what if they're right? What if I am selfish? What if I should be doing more? But deep down, beneath the fear and guilt, there was a quiet, firm truth. I had done nothing wrong. Not one thing. My sister's infertility was not my fault. My refusal to be her surrogate was not betrayal. Yet my family had decided I was the villain. 2 weeks passed. 2 quiet, deceptively calm weeks. Chelsea didn't contact me. My parents slowed down their guilt campaign. Dan disappeared entirely. 2 days later, my job called. "Aaron," my boss said awkwardly, "we received a concerning email from your sister regarding your conduct." I nearly dropped the phone. "She claimed you've been unstable and asked if your position was secure." I felt sick. My boss luckily dismissed it, but the damage was done. I was humiliated. Angry. Chelsea had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. I blocked every member of my family. I changed my phone number. Update. By the time Chelsea involved my job, it felt like the ground had shifted under my feet. No apology could ever fix the breach she'd created. After I blocked everyone and changed my number, the silence felt strange at first, like standing in a room where shouting used to echo. It took a week for it to stop feeling eerie and start feeling like oxygen. The first sign of my new boundaries working came 3 days into the silence. There were knocks on my door. Persistent ones. Desperate ones. I didn't need to look through the peephole to know who it was. "Aaron, open this door," my mother's voice demanded. "We need to talk." I didn't move. I kept washing dishes. After a few minutes, Dad chimed in. "You're being childish," he said. "We aren't leaving until you open up." I wiped my hands, walked to the door, and stared at it. Not to open it, but to confirm to myself that I didn't feel a single shred of softness toward the people standing behind it. Mom knocked again, voice cracking. "Please. You can't shut your family out." But I already had. "Aaron," Dad shouted. "If you don't open this door right now." I walked away mid-threat and went to my bedroom, shut the door, and blasted music loud enough to drown out the rest. They stayed for 40 minutes. I didn't respond. I didn't even slow down my scrolling. When they finally left, I sat on the couch, numb but weirdly calm. It was the first moment I realized I didn't owe them access to me. A week later, Lila came over with food and a grin so wide I thought she'd won the lottery. "You will not believe what happened," she said, flopping onto my couch. "Sit." I sat, chopsticks in hand. "So," she said, "you know how I used to work with one of Chelsea's friends? Candace?" I nodded vaguely. "Well," Lila continued, "Candace overheard Chelsea ranting about you at some gathering, saying you destroyed her dreams, refused to help, abandoned her, the whole melodramatic tour. But here's the kicker," Lila said. "Candace then told her friends, and eventually the story mutated into some fairy tale where you were the wicked sister." "That sounds like Chelsea," I muttered. "So Lila said with a dramatic flourish, corrected the narrative. I paused. "What do you mean?" "I told them the actual truth," she said. "The surrogacy demand. The invoice. The email to your job. All of it." My mouth fell open. "You told them everything?" "Yes," she said unapologetically. Because Chelsea wasn't just lying, she was trying to assassinate your character publicly. And what did they say? Lila smirked. Oh, Aaron. They abandoned her faster than you blocked her. She pulled out her phone and showed me screenshots, group chats where Chelsea's friends told her she'd crossed multiple lines, that she needed serious help, that what she'd done was manipulative, unethical, and cruel. Chelsea tried defending herself, doubling down, claiming I'd led her on. Her friends didn't buy a word of it. Chelsea left the chat. Lila grinned at me. You're officially vindicated. I felt something release in my chest, a pressure I hadn't known was there. I didn't ask you to do that, I said softly. I know, she replied. But someone had to. And you weren't going to defend yourself. You're too used to playing the reasonable one. I'm not. I laughed. For the first time in months, I felt something close to gratitude instead of exhaustion. Chelsea reaches out, but it's too late. 2 days after the friendship implosion, I received an email from Chelsea. Subject line: You went too far. I almost deleted it without reading. But curiosity got the better of me. Inside was a wall of text dripping with indignation. She accused me of turning her friends against her. She said I had ruined her reputation. Then she demanded that I meet her in person, apologize, help her clear this up. I read the entire message without feeling a single flutter of guilt. Then I wrote one sentence in response. Do not contact me again. I just sent it. Then I blocked her email. Of course, Chelsea ran crying to my parents. And, like clockwork, the retaliation came. First,
The door banging.
louder this time, more desperate. Aaron, we know you're in there. Mom shouted. I turned up my music again. Dad added his voice. You humiliated your sister. I lay on the couch and checked my email. Mom tried again. Open this door before we call someone to do it for us. I actually laughed. Out loud. They didn't know it yet, but they had lost all power over me the moment I realized I didn't need them. When the shouting continued, I grabbed my phone and called the office manager of my apartment complex. There are people banging on my door and refusing to leave, I said calmly. Do you know them? The manager asked. My estranged family, I said. I've asked them not to come. On it. 5 minutes later, security came. My mom sputtered. But this is our daughter's home. She says you are not welcome, the guard said. Please leave before this becomes a trespassing matter. I didn't open the door to watch them leave, but I did peek through the blinds once they reached the parking lot. My mother looked shocked. My father looked furious. And I felt nothing. A week later, when everything had, seemingly, gone quiet, I received a message request on Instagram. It was from Dan. I almost ignored it, but the preview text caught my eye. I opened it. Dan wrote, Chelsea is spiraling. She's obsessed with blaming you for everything. She's been screaming, breaking things, calling her friends nonstop, trying to get someone to defend her. I don't know what to do. I stared at the message for a long time. 5 months ago, I would have responded.
But now?
I typed back. This is not my problem. I'm not involved in her life anymore. Do not contact me again. Then I blocked him too. It was stunning how easy it felt. Choosing myself, fully and completely. Weeks passed. Quiet, peaceful, uneventful weeks. Not once did I reach out to my family. People talk about cutting out toxicity like it's some dramatic, fiery scene. But the truth is, sometimes it feels like nothing at all, like removing a splinter you've been tolerating so long you forgot how much it hurt. The absence of pain is its own kind of shock. One night, sitting on my couch, legs tucked beneath me, sipping tea, I realized something profound. My family had been draining me for years. Chelsea's crisis had just been the final reveal. And choosing myself was the first truly adult decision I had ever made. Months later, Lila and I sat in a coffee shop while she scrolled through social media. Oh wow, she said suddenly. Chelsea deleted her Instagram. And her Facebook. I shrugged. Not my problem. Not my business. Think she's okay? Lila asked. She's not my responsibility, I said. And I meant it with every cell in my body. Lila smiled. Proud of you. I took a sip of my latte and felt something warm, peace, maybe, settle inside me. I wasn't the villain. And for the first time, I looked at my future and saw something bright, not because the path was easy, but because it was mine. Just mine. And I walked forward without looking back.